Go live.
Go live on.
Yes. Okay, welcome everyone. So as usual, right, just give me a minute to get all the stuff up and running. So friends on Instagram, we are live on Facebook and YouTube right now. Can go and, if you want to see the slides, right, go over to either the Facebook or YouTube, okay? Let me just get some stuff done. Share. Do help me like and share the current video. If you have friends or family who are looking to probably purchase or currently own a property in the RCR and may be interested to find out how their property may potentially perform in the next couple of years, right? So let me go to So just give me a minute, folks. Let me share that on my post. Okay, now let's get started. So I know the topic came out a little bit late this time around because we were busy doing up the Live at Mountbatten review. So please do remember to check that out as well. Quite relevant the review video as well as this video, because Live at Mountbatten is in the RCR, and that's one of the reasons why we chose to start with RCR for our 3-part series on dissecting profitable properties. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Headed onto my slides first. Okay, so as usual, we're going to start off with a recent news article, and this article came out earlier this week. And so for those of you who know us, we are not the kind that always just post the good news, right? You know, try to sugarcoat things and whatnot. Like recently, I spoke with a follower of ours, and he was complaining like how there's like many funny tricks out there in the market right now, or extremely one-sided opinions. And you know, I guess that's why we do what we do, right? We want to be upfront and just discuss it as it is, right? So over in this article, right, highly leveraged homeowners may face double whammy from inflation and housing supply, says our friends over at IREUS, probably one of the more complicated sounding institutions around. Right, so the small header, current robust rental market for private homes will soon be tested as more units are slated for completion. And so now our job is to share with you our own thoughts and as well as some on the ground feedback that we are getting based on the kind of viewings and the listings that we have, because what differs from our opinion as opposed to the expert's opinion is that we are on the ground day in, day out doing transactions. So to cut the long story short, right, the TLDR, right, some of the points highlighted in this article, maybe let me just open it up. The big one. Okay. The main 2 points that they were talking about in this article is, number one, the housing TOP stock is going to increase. Yeah, and with this increase, they expect rentals to drop. Understandably so, right? Because real estate, very simple, everything is demand and supply. So that is with the assumption that demand remains constant, then yes, the supply of units into the market will result in a drop in rental prices. But let me just share with you, because we have done quite a fair bit of rentals over the last couple of weeks, as a matter of fact. And just earlier this week, we did a rental over at Balmoral, and that's a 3-bedroom penthouse in Balmoral. The previous rental was 6,000-ish, like mid-6,000s. We got a new tenant in at 9,500. and that is easily more than 50%, close to 50% of the previous rental pricing. But that's not just it. We had the phone was basically bombarded with inquiries. People were throwing. As a matter of fact, this particular offer, we did it. They put in the offer without even viewing the units because they know that by the time they come down and view, there's a pretty good chance the unit will be gone. Another interesting fact is that we thought because of its location in Balmoral, we would have gotten a lot of maybe Singaporean families looking to rent the space, especially for the kids' schools. But turns out the bulk of the inquiries were foreigners. I mean, maybe because it was a penthouse and lifestyle-wise, it was more catered over to foreigners, Caucasians, and whatnot. And a lot of them actually texted us with a Hong Kong number, meaning they were looking to relocate to Singapore from Hong Kong. We have a couple of them from Shanghai as well. And quite a number of them have not even came over. There are some that's already over. So I just want to share with you some of the on-the-ground stuff. And also, we do have a lot of our rentals over in the OCR also being snapped up very, very quickly. So where do I see this going, right? Do I agree with this point? There's some things that I do not agree. Some that I do agree, of course, on the basic theory of demand and supply. But he's assuming demand is constant. I actually expect demand to come up. But with the fact that a lot of the TOPs will actually take away local demands for rental because there's probably quite a fair number of tenants, especially the locals in the market, that are renting while waiting for their TOP. So those demand will no longer be there once the TOP is done. But with that also, you're going to see this chain effect, you see. So a lot of people are out in the market renting because they are waiting for the TOP, right? So but in this article, they're saying the TOP will remove or will add supply into the market. But I see it differently. It is like a one-for-one swap. The current demand in the market for the rental will no longer be there, but it equalizes with the supply because they then move in and stay on their own. So net is cancel out one another, right? So the real push up for the rental really then comes from the outside of Singapore, and we based on what we sense in the market and when we speak with our colleagues, that seems to be on the uptrend as well, and I think their budget is really quite good. Next thing, but that one, let me come back to it. I finish up with this article first, right? What I agree and what I disagree. Next point that he highlighted is the highly leveraged homeowners will be affected. But I mean, of course, right? Newspapers, they tend to like to sensationalize things. But my main question is, you go where to find highly leveraged homeowners nowadays when we have LTVs? Straight out, when you buy the house, it's already at 75%. Who remembers what was the LTV before cooling measures started? Maybe you can put down into the chat. Who remembers how much was the LTV before all the cooling measures started? Let us know in the chat. That number is 90%. 90%, right? So later on, I'm going to share with you some examples on why the difference in LTV makes a difference as well in how interest rate impacts the average Singapore household. So I'm going to pick holes in that particular point as well, right? That highly leveraged homeowners will be affected. First of all, I don't think there's that many of them. Second, I don't think it's really very easy for one to highly leverage themselves in the market today. It's basically impossible with TDSR in it, unless they are saying the homeowners have home loan plus a lot of other credit card loans and whatnot, but you know that has nothing to do with the fundamentals of the property market. Right, let me just come back to the slides and share with you some of the points that I see, some of the data that I see with regards to this particular point on highly leveraged homeowners, yeah? I got to go to, yes, Alright. Yes. Okay. Preview. Main slides. Okay. Okay, so what does an increase in interest rates mean for the market as a whole? I'm breaking it down into 2 points, right? What does an increase in interest rate mean for the market, number one, and what does an increase in interest rate mean for you? Okay, so let's talk about the market first, from the macro to the micro. In terms of loan to value, okay, while the MAS has set the loan to value for loans, property loans, mortgage loans at 75% as opposed to 90% in the past, if you really actually go and read the MAS Financial Stability Report, okay, I'm going to put that link into the chat. Yeah, in a bit, okay? And you can go and read that. But if you actually read that article, they've done their checks and the actual average household LTV is 45.7, much lesser than the 75 that they stipulate. So what does that mean? That means if you average across all the Singapore households in Singapore, most of them have already paid off half their house. Okay, so like, you know, but what does that mean? Okay, later on, I'm going to show you how does that mean in terms of the numbers lah. And how many of you actually go and study the Singapore household balance sheet? Because I do, and but you know, I'm a nerd like that. But in any case, let me share with you what I've seen. So this is another chart from the MAS Financial Stability Report 2021, okay? And this particular table charts the cash and deposit rates of the Singapore household against household debt. So notice how household debt has balanced off, similar in terms of the LTV chart people are taking. While a lot of the word on the street is that property price continue rising so high, you know, is it a bubble? Is it sustainable? But you know, bubbles tend to mean excessive debt, right? Over leveraging. That's what bubbles mean. But if you really look at it, household debts have actually tapered off compared to the gradient from 2010 onwards. That gradient has gone lower. Means the rate of increase of household debt is going down. But Singaporeans love to save, Asians love to save. So savings, cash and deposits continue to go up. To the tune of how much? That's the good question, and that's why I put the whole balance sheet over here. The household net worth in Singapore, right, is 2.3 trillion with a T, okay? Cash and deposits is at 5.4 billion, okay? The liabilities, and this includes your car loan, housing loan, any liability, okay? To answer the people's question on how many highly leveraged people are there in the market. So I'm going to average it out into one person. So assume this is one person valued at the person is called the Singapore household, right? Valued at 2.38 trillion with cash and deposits, meaning liquid assets, of $5.4 billion. All the liabilities add together is just 3.6 billion. So at any one point in time, for example, you've heard people say this. I've had a lot of clients that say this. Hey, if interest rate come out too high, I will just fully pay off the loan. I'm getting a lot of those inquiries nowadays, right? With former clients checking back and say, hey, you know, with rates going up like that, should I just fully pay off the place? So yeah, these are the actual data points, publicly available data that shows me that the Singapore household isn't highly leveraged. As a matter of fact, they are very, I mean, if you are a more aggressive investor, you will say this is actually a very conservative way to plan your finances lah. Okay, but that's all in all a good thing, right? Extremely strong fundamentals in terms of the Singapore household balance sheet. Moving on, what does that mean for you, right? How do I answer the people that ask me, hey, with the increase in interest rate, should I fully pay off the loan? Or another question that people like to ask is, should I pay down more of the loan? Should I not take so much loan so that I reduce my interest expense and I reduce my monthly mortgage? I get this question a lot as well, and let me help you guys answer that. So what does an increase in interest rate mean for you? Okay, so I've done an example for you. So assuming you have a $1 million house and you take a 30-year loan. So last time when somebody can take a 90% loan to value, and if interest rates go from 1% to 2%, they will have a $432 increase in monthly repayment. But today it's at 75%. So if a 1%, the interest rate increases by 1%, that's extra $360 a month. Okay? And I put $50 there because $50 is the average LTV for the Singapore household, right? And at 50%, the difference of a 1% increase in interest rates is $240 a month. And I put that question to all of you, would you sell your house, don't even say for cheap, just sell your house, right, for an extra $360 expense a month? Just ask yourself that question. But if you ask me, the obvious answer is no. We will cut back on every other thing except selling the house because it's your single biggest asset. So for those who are thinking that an increase in interest rates will result in a lot of supply into the market, there are people forced selling the house, I'm afraid you'll be disappointed. But adding on to that other point, onto the other example, is because you see the previous, but why do people continue to say that? Why do your uncles, parents say that? It's because last time when there was a 90% leverage, when it was the norm for 90% leverage, the difference is $432, and last time interest rate is not 1%, last time it's like 3-4%, and then you go up to 5-6% kind. So very, very painful. And on top of that, because there was no ABSD, it's a likely chance that that particular person, right, it was very, very common, which is why we always hear horror stories of people going bust or their houses getting repossessed. It's because they easily was servicing 2, 3, 4 loans, 2, 3, 4 properties, because no ABSD, you just buy. Actually, 400,000, you can buy 4 $1 million properties already. And if the interest rate goes up by 1%, you take $400 times 4, $1,600, and that's going to impact people, right? That is where the impact comes. And when they cannot service 1, they get margin called, and the bank repossesses 3. The bank is then forced to sell those 3 properties in the market, and that is why we have all those bank auctions. But today, the bank auction is very, very little, because you also have to understand the bank don't want to take back your property, right? Because it's a lot of hassle for them. And then they have to pay the auction house like 10% commission to sell the particular property. They hate to do that. They rather, try their best to give you some leeway, debt, credit restructuring, those sort of things. But I think they're a lot happier now because, first of all, ABSD. So, maximum a couple is going to have is 2 lah. I'm saying like for 95% of Singaporeans, maximum 2. And even that, right, a 1% increase is not really going to cause a surge in supply of properties into the market. Hence, why property prices wouldn't drop because of the increase in interest rates. I hope this example kind of illustrates the point across, right? I'm going similarly the past and the present examples to try and illustrate the point. Then next, right, on, how does it affect you? Should you go and pay down your property? So let me give you some numbers, right? If you look at the 75% to the 50%, how do you use this same table to answer the question, should you lower down your loan? What is the difference in your monthly repayment by dropping your leverage from 75 to 50%? So assuming the interest rate is at 2%, look at the difference. 2,772 versus 1,848. The difference is $800. Okay, difference is $800. But if anything happens, to you, you still have to pay 1,848. but you spend 250,000. Why 250,000? 25% of $1 million because you're lowering it from 75 to 50 ma. So you spend $250,000 paying off the loan. So provided you have a lot of buffer, because if not, I'd rather you keep that $250,000 as a buffer, and if anything happened to you, you can still use that $250,000 to pay this 2772, right? And last you a long time, a long time, right? So generally, I don't recommend clients fully paying off their house too early. Of course, it then also depends on which stage of your life you are at. I have clients that are 50, 60 years old. They have already tons and tons of cash. For this, they want to pay off so that, you know, they don't want any hassle, they don't want any stress, they don't want the bank to keep sending them letters reminding them of the increase in interest rates, then they want to pay off. Okay, that one fine. But if you are 30s and 40s, especially if you have liabilities, I suggest you don't fully pay off. Right? If you have 200 extra cash, go and invest it somewhere else, or just keep it in your piggy bank for a rainy day. Right? Point is, anything happens, by lowering it, you still have to pay the lower amount. Okay? Okay. Let's move on to the actual topic today. Okay, dissecting profitable properties. Yeah, and I'm going to take a deep dive into this particular topic and utilize some case studies, not often used case studies, right? I know there are certain case studies that I use until 1000 already. I wouldn't use that, right? I went to find some new case studies, also in areas of interest, right? Areas that potentially is going to garner quite a fair bit of attention moving forward, and then try and sort of piece some of these case studies together to form a conclusion. Right? What exactly makes for good, profitable properties? Right? Be it new, resale, 99, freehold. Okay. So of course we have to first start off with where exactly is the RCR. To be honest, if you really ask me, if you go around the areas, sometimes I also don't know. I need to refer to the map. If not, you have to check the phone. So RCR, right, otherwise known as the city fringe, right? Why and how they determine this particular line, nobody knows. Only URA know. I think you go and ask your friend at URA, they probably also don't know. Looks based on how this thingy looks like somebody was drunk and then just take the pen and anyhow draw, because some of them, the distance to the city center is a lot further away than the distance. We have some OCR, let's say you are over right beside Katong, right, Steel Road over there. You can hit Marina Bay in a faster time than, let's say, you want to get from the edge of Bishan Thompson there. You want to get to Marina Bay. So that doesn't really make much sense. But what to do? This is what everybody uses lah. Okay, so right back to the point, why am I starting with RCR today? Is because of a follow-up on all the research that I've done for my Live at MB video. Again, if you haven't checked that out, please go and check it out. I think this video and that video sort of works together because I also talk about quite a fair bit on what is happening, especially in District 15 in that particular video, of which the link will be posted into the chat. The Live at MB link. Live at MB link. Okay. Yes, let's move on. Okay, so right, where exactly is the RCR and why is it so damn confusing? Right, because you see, it forms part of District 1, part of District 2. So Chinatown is the RCR, not CCR. Part of District 4, part of District 5. So Clementi isn't, but on the extreme corner end of Clementi, it is. Yeah, Fort Canning is actually RCR. Okay, because of this very awkward little land bridge that cuts across in the middle between Boon Keng and Tiong Bahru, which is what makes Canning Hill pierce in RCR property. I hope you guys know, especially if you bought Canning Hill. You know, and part of District 13, 14, and 15, and 20, right? So you're asking me why I make until so confusing. It's because, as you can see from the top over here, Districts 1, 2, 3, 4, they are actually a legacy from the British colonial era, and in actual fact, they are part of the postal district. So basically, the post office decided where is going to be District 1, 2, 3, 4. But URA were the one that came in to determine who is OCR, RCR, CCR, which is why, you know, it is so awkward like that, right? And it's also because of this, right, that a lot of people get confused with, you know, some people end up, I'm surprised because I actually met some of our followers or some of our listeners, right, that actually bought CCR, not Canning Hill Pierce, not knowing that they are RCR property. And that is, I think, perhaps the takeaway point on these two slides is make sure you go and check, okay? Because if your property is around this area, the developer is not going to tell you is whether it's a CCR or RCR, especially if it's very, very close to the line. But if your property, you need to be concerned if, you know, you are buying either CCR or RCR to check whether which one does it lie in. But you don't have to worry if your property is RCR, near RCR and OCR. Because if it's in the RCR, the developer confirm let you know. Because he's going to charge you for that, right? And if it's the OCR, he cannot tell you that it's in the RCR lah. But he may tell you city fringe, right? He may tell you city fringe because city fringe and RCR, they can be used individually. They are not like synonymous with one another. So just make sure that you get it correctly lah, okay? So next up, okay, how are we going to dissect the particular properties? We're going to try and answer using case studies some of these HO questions, right? Which kind of property is more profitable, freehold or 99? The discussion never ends, right? And we're going to continue it today. Do layouts matter? Does development size matter? Right? Is it true that all transformations is a surefire way to make profits? Is it true that you can time the market to yield supernormal profits? And lastly, can all 99-year developments make money? Or most of the time the question is phrased another way lah. Will all 99-year developments lose money? Right? Anyway, same thing lah. We're just gonna discuss that. And I thought, you know, I'm just gonna put all these questions there is because while, you know, most people, they will ask, first question is, hey, Alvin, this property can make money or not? I like to then dive deeper and ask, right, all these questions up front, because it's not so much about whether a property can make money or not. And even if I tell them can or cannot, right, these questions usually tend to come up a bit later on lah. So might as well, you know, all put up together and discuss, right? So let's move on to our very first case study. And we are starting with District 15, right? Probably the hottest of all RCR districts at this point in time. But moving on, right? The circus is moving out already from District 15. It will come back once Jalan Tembusu is going to launch. But the circus is now going to move over to Ang Mo Kio, which is borderline RCR, OCR. But it's in the OCR lah, so which is why, you know, you don't see the developers really saying that it's RCR or anything. And how many of you think the new Ang Mo Kio residence, the name is really, really bad? But that's besides the point. Right, District 15, okay. I'm going to zoom in on two areas in District 15, right, the Amber area as well as the Mayor area. I dive into the Mayor area quite a bit in my video, right, on my review of Live at MB lah. I actually picked out a few examples and whatnot. And so I won't really be repeating the points I mentioned in that video over there, right? So do go and watch it, not now, watch it later. Now you can follow, continue to follow us. But in the Mayor area, okay, in the Mayor area, it's very, very interesting, right? Because the existing properties are mostly freehold, but yet they have very, very different performance, okay? I can bring your attention, I hope I can highlight it. I can't really highlight it. But I bring your attention to the annualized capital gains part, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. The fourth column from the right, fourth column from the right. The annualized capital gains column. Notice how Makina, Belvedere, and Seafront, they all do decently well, right? With the majority of them making profits and the annualized profits doing quite well. But you know, Fulcrum and the Line doing badly. I dive into the reasons why in the Live at MB video lah. But you know, the main points really is layouts matter, right? Layouts matter. Notice how even though Belvedere and basically Fulcrum and the Line have same number of units, Belvedere still outperform them by quite a bit. Why? Go into the thing. It's not because the other three got Sea View. While yes, some of the units have Sea View, the units that don't have Sea View in the first three developments still do very, very well. Okay, and the other thing I put it down to as well, it's timing. Okay, so those 2 points lah. Fulcrum and the Line, they were sold at really a timing that is very, very bad for investors, and it's also the timing that I don't think we will encounter again. Why? Because it was in that period pre-cooling measures. So for those who follow us, you know we actually characterize the whole Singapore property market. Just like how, you know, when years, right, we have BC and AD ma, you know, like BC, right, before Christ, and AD is, you know, our now to 2020 and all those whatnot, right, the years are. In the Singapore property market, right, there is before cooling measures and after cooling measures, right? Before cooling measures is basically pre-2013. After cooling measures is post-2013. And why I say you can essentially draw a line right down the middle and fundamentals change very, very differently on the two sides of 2013 is because before 2013, no cooling measures. Example earlier, 90% LTV, no ABSD, means also a lot of speculative demand in Singapore. Similarly, also no foreigner ABSD, so you can see, right, there are, for this particular development, not so much in terms of foreign ownership. Later on, I go Mayor and I show you Silver Sea, you'll be shocked by the percentage of foreign owners in Silver Sea, and that's also one of the reasons why prices at Silver Sea don't move. Another reason why if you jump over to Reflections at Keppel Bay, prices also don't move, right? So that's that on Mayor, right? Profitable ones, right? Even though they are quite old, you see Makina 1998, 22 years old, excellent profits. Let me just show some of those examples to you guys, right? I can go to the website. And we can check out Seafront at Mayor. Okay, so just now if you notice Seafront and Mayor, they put the percentage annualized not very high. But if you really just zoom in and come and take a look, right? The profitable transactions are, you notice how people, they buy in 2017 and sell in 2020, basically a 5-year holding period, they can yield about $400,000 in profits. 1066 square feet most likely is a 2-bedroom only. Yeah, 1604 square feet, of course, you'll make a lot more. Yeah, just look at the amount of profits that they make. Do also note that a lot of these purchases, right, some of them were purchased during a time where the market was at a peak. if it wasn't in a good area like District 15, if this was in another area, for example, somebody that bought their properties in 2011, 12, 13, most likely will yield a loss. Okay, so this one is also another question that we'll talk about, right? Timing, does it matter? It does, right? The timing of entry and the timing of exit matters, right? But if you listen carefully, the market, will we see a similar situation happening as the, from speculative demand to no speculative demand happening again? I don't think so. So I do not foresee us going through a similar cycle as, buying in 2011, 12, 13, and then after that, having to wait really, really long time to break even on your property, right? But that's besides the point, right? I wanted to just share some of these profits with you. So even though the property is not very big, 100 plus units, they still can yield pretty decent profits if they are in a good area of strong organic demand, right? Check out the video as I dive into that a little bit in more detail. Now let us go back to the Amber area because there's more things that I want to talk about in the Amber area. So over in Amber, I chose the properties that are slightly bigger in size, right? We have the Esta at 400 units, one Amber at 562 units, the Sky Vue 546 units, the Shaw 408, Silver Sea 383, the smallest one being Alto at 196 units. This one actually very drastic, and this is the reason why I'm putting it here is for all the the debaters of 99 versus Freehold, because a lot of the info that you see online, especially in the last couple of years, will tell you 99 does better. But this is one case study that Freehold actually has outperformed the 99. If you can see Esta, One Amber, Sky Vue being the both Freehold developments, their annualized capital gains is at 6%. All three of them very, very consistent, right? The Shaw Harvest at 3.9, Silver Sea at 0.2. So remember I was saying, look at the percentage foreign ownership at Silver Sea, 41%, basically half of them are foreigners. And these guys, when they bought that time, a lot of them got no ABSD as well. And with foreigners, especially the guys buying these tend to be high net worth individuals. They are looking to move their money around as and when they deem each city or the exchange rate being favorable to them. So if I were to buy a property, that is actually one of the key points that I will look out for. I wouldn't want to go into a property with a lot of foreigners because you are then at their mercy. Now let me very quickly jump over to the website, and we can check out some of the graphs of it, right? I think that's more interactive that way. Over here, yeah? So, why try and avoid now? Because you can see, I'm going to refresh this, and then you can see the trend lines of the Silver Sea. The prices have basically stagnated and not moved over the years. Almost a straight line. As a matter of fact, for those of them that bought before 2012 at close to 1,800 PSF, till today, it's easily lose money one. Okay? But the Shaw, on the other hand, has performed quite well. Okay, so now the case study, right? I'm going to compare the Shaw, okay, with the Sky Vue, the largest unit, the largest development in the area, and sort of let's see what are some of the takeaways that we can get from a case study like that. Okay, there are about 6 years difference in age lah. But there wasn't any of the Freehold, good size Freehold ones that TOP in 2014. So, I try my best, but it's not exactly the most apple to apple comparison, but I guess it serves to show the point. And we zoom into the chart. So notice how when the Shaw first launched, it was at a really, really close price to the sea view. And obviously at that point in time, them being like side by side, very close to one another, I guess the logical people would have then chose to go for the sea view. But the sea view actually went through a couple of years of basically not outperforming the shore all the way until 2017, 2018, right? Notice how in the absence of a seller's market, the freehold developments tend not to outperform the 99-year developments. That is one key takeaway, because that was one round of seller's market, late 2017 to 2018, stopping at the 2018 cooling measures, right? 5th July 2018. Then come the next round, and after that seller's market went off, their prices actually just hovered around there until the recent seller's market, and then we see prices really shooting up for the sea view. And with this shoot up, what is my takeaway from it? Okay, this particular case study, right, if we really were to dissect it, point number one was what I said earlier: the freehold developments tend to outperform only in seller's market. In the absence of a seller's market, they tend to actually perform relatively similar, especially if you are comparing it to a younger 99-year development. So it's important to really consider your holding period. What are the kinds of holding period are you looking for? If you are an investor, are you willing to hold out for a bit longer for the right time to sell your property, right? Because if our good friends at the Sea View at that point in time only had the patience to hold it for 4 years, they would not have outperformed the short, okay? They had to hold a good until all the way from 2010. Of course, don't talk about the guys that own it from day one, but the owners the buyers at 2010 who chose to buy the Sea View because the Shaw 99 is almost the same price, if not at one point in time slightly more expensive. They had to wait a good 5 years, 7 years to outperform, right? Next thing, if I add in the Esta and one Amber, you will notice that the Sea View actually is outperforming all of them. If you zoom in, right, while all of them actually saw a pickup in price very recently. I mean, because everyone else saw a pickup in price, the Sea View was the one that really push prices off to another benchmark price, crossing 2,250 PSF. The answer is, the question is why. If you actually do go and view the properties, you will understand that the Sea View is actually a much better product. It's a much bigger land plot with a lot better facilities as compared to, say, even the Shaw. The Shaw facilities is actually very nice, Far East development. But the Sea View just has a very different vibe. So here it is. If there's a lot of competition in the area, make sure you try your best to go for the big brother of the place. The place that's going to attract, or the place that's going to wow people. And this is why, if we go back to the Mayor site, for example, right? If you saw my review, or if you're going to watch my review at Leaf and MB, that's one of the points that I highlighted. You got to understand what the market likes and what the market is leaning towards. The market is leaning towards quality. The market is leaning towards buying something that, albeit expensive, because here it is, the oldest development of the lot, right, is outperforming all the other developments, 99 or Freehold. So if you ask me, Freehold or 99, does it matter? Actually, end up it doesn't matter. I look at the quality size of the project as a more important parameter. That is one of my key takeaways after analyzing the whole Amber Park area. Now back to the Amber area, sorry, not Amber Park. But if you are sharp and you look at the kind of PSFs that the Sea View is getting, you will know that actually Amber Park is quite of really quite decent value, almost the same PSF as a new development. Very close, 10% difference. Oops, I accidentally opened a wrong one. Now, moving on. Yes, I got to jump back to slides. Correct. Right, so that is the takeaway for Amber, right? Conclusion, right? 99 over freehold. In what circumstance will I choose 99 over freehold? If the 99-year-old development is of a better quality, and if the freehold around the area is smaller in terms of the development, right? That is where I will lean towards 99, price aside. Freehold over 99, when is it better? Of course, if the freehold is of a much bigger size than the 99-year development, as seen with the Sky Vue example. But of course, you need to have patience, right? You need to make sure that your holding period is long enough for it to reach a seller's market, then outperform the 99. If not, most of the time is quite balanced. And then if you're looking for own stay, then see whether or not which one your budget allows lah, right? This is only purely for more of an investment point of view. Development size, very, very important. After checking it through Mayor and Amber area, the larger the development is better most of the time. Just cannot say all the time. I'm going to just leave myself a bit of room because, of course, I haven't seen every single development in Singapore. That's why I say most of the time. Because I also know some Telok Kurau small freehold developments. Some of them, with a bit of luck, can actually also make money. Okay? But general rule of thumb, you want to play safe, go for the bigger development and the better quality development. Okay? Moving on. This is also other question that people like to ask, and since we are in the RCR, an area of quite a fair bit of transformation, right? We first have the Greater Southern Waterfront, right? So the key question that we want to utilize these case studies to ask here is, does transformation matter, right? Will transformation guarantee you profits? Okay? Drink. I'm going to use two transformation case studies, and very, very similar in terms of the timeline, right? The Greater Southern Waterfront, which was first announced in 2013, but really gained the public's attention only in 2019 after PM Lee's National Day rally. Okay? Then the next transformation I want to talk about is the Woodleigh Bidadari transformation, also announced in 2013. So the areas that I'm going to look at is really using Spottiswoode, which is more or less in the heart of the Greater Southern Waterfront transformation, and also Woodleigh, right? Picking out some of the developments in those areas. I apologize if it looks a little bit small, but I'm just going to tell it to you, right? It at Woodleigh, Bartley Residences, Bartley Ridge, comparing them to and Park Colonial lah, and comparing them to Spottiswoode Residences, Spottiswoode 18 and Spottiswoode Suites. Okay? Adopting the traditional perimeters, very, very traditional perimeters, right? I'm pretty sure most of us would have picked the Spottiswoode area to outperform the Woodleigh area. First of all, the Spottiswoode area is a lot closer to the CBD as compared to Woodleigh, number one. Number two, the transformation just actually, if you really go and analyze the transformation, the Woodleigh and Bidadari transformation is nowhere as sexy as the Greater Southern Waterfront transformation. The Woodleigh transformation is from a cemetery become a HDB town. The Greater Southern Waterfront transformation is from a port into like this new whole lifestyle by the sea kind of thing, right? Nowhere near as sexy. But if you really look at the numbers, and bring your attention again to the annualized capital gains, right? Spottiswoode Residences, 0.9%. Spottiswoode 18.4%. Spottiswoode Suites, negative 0.9%. And we have our good friends, the former cemetery, at 4%, right? Bartley Residences, not so good, 0.4%. But actually, if you really look at it, in the recent years, the percentage has gotten a lot better, right? Bartley Ridge 1.8%, and Park Colonial recently TOP at 4%. So why was Woodleigh more profitable than Spottiswoode, right? The whole conclusion that I draw from here is that not all transformations are made the same. My issue with the Greater Southern Waterfront transformation is that there wasn't really a lot of HDBs that, yes, right, you were saying, yeah, most of you will say, hey, yeah, the government is launching them now, right? But first of all, those will be subjected to the new PLH, right, the Prime Location Housing Scheme, meaning they have a 10-year MOP. And then when they sell, they're going to be restricted to all the very strict eligibility criteria as well. So there, I find it's going to have an absence of upgraders. Of course, they may attract upgraders from all other parts of Singapore, but then again, that story is still very, very long from now. And you know, with that, I also bring your attention over to this point on my next thing. The Spottiswoode area is very, very concentrated with investors, and which is why I'm putting this, right? Notice, in the 500-meter vicinity, the Spottiswoode area has 541 one-bedrooms and 652 two-bedrooms, with the larger 3-bedrooms and 4-bedrooms making up the minority. But if you look at Woodleigh, you notice the majority is in terms of 3 and 4 bedrooms. What does that tell you? Okay, that the area in Woodleigh is a lot more owner-occupied, right? Owner-occupied, while Spottiswoode is very investor. Those of you who follow us know our preference for going into an area with more owner-occupiers as opposed to an area that is very, very investor-centric, because investors have reducing break-even prices, right? They can sell 4 to 5 years from now at lower than their purchase price and still make money because their tenants are paying the mortgage for them. But in the owner-occupied areas, the owners are consuming their own interest. They cannot afford to sell the same price as what they bought at. If not, they'll be making a loss. And hence, you know, they constantly try to push price higher. So in this particular case, the 99 actually beats out the freehold developments, hands down. The transformation, let me choose. I will then analyze the transformations carefully as well, because most of the time, actually, if you go to any show flat in Singapore, or even if you go to resale developments, anyone can take out the URA master plan and sell you some kind of transformation. You go to Sembawang, also people can sell you transformation. They say they're making up the whole beach and whatnot. But you know, what kind of transformation really can make money, right? It is if they bring dollars to the table. So bidadari, why? Why they make so much money? While you can say no bidadari HDBs have really yielded, hit their MOP yet, but the matter of fact is that bidadari is already attracting in a lot of upgraders down from the District 19 area, your Sengkang, your Punggol, your Hougang, your Upper Serangoon area, drawing in plenty of upgraders. And those upgraders are easily sitting on $300,000-$400,000 profit from their first purchase. And they are looking to, you know, move closer to the city center, yeah, a place that is a bit more convenient. And also the Woodleigh, Bidadari, Bartley area is also anchored down by some pretty good schools as well. Again, then drawing in a lot of organic and owner-occupier demand. So transformation, no matter how sexy, if there's no owner-occupier demand into that area, the prices will not go up, right? And I'm also going to take this opportunity to share with you guys how basically the money cycle works in Singapore and why it's so important to understand whether an area can attract HDB upgraders. So people always ask me, hey, how profits are made, right? So on the bottom circle, I'm going to try and make sure y'all don't get confused, okay? So the bottom circle, right, is HDB, okay? So HDB, the government sells you at a subsidized rate. So you make the money. So this is you buy the HDB from the government subsidized rate. So now you are upgrader and you sell already, you make profits, and you can upgrade to a private condo. But the private condo come from where? The private condo come from the developers over here. The developers buy the land from the government to allow them to kind of subsidize the HDB, right? They subsidize the HDB, and then so you basically yield that money from this side of the circle, and then you come back up to buy the private from the developers, and then that's where the circle sort of flows, right? I hope can understand. And which is why, you know, the HDB upgrader is really where the deep pockets are. Yeah. Next big question, right? Does timing matter? And for this particular case, I'm jumping over to another area in Singapore, right? Using two RCR areas as example, okay? Actually not two, just one. Yeah, the Bishan area. And so over in the Bishan area, we have two developments. I'm zooming in on two developments. Sky Vue, which is near to Bishan MRT, and Jadescape, that is going to TOP soon. Also near the MRT. I just cannot remember which MRT is that not. I think maybe it's Marymount. But yeah, it's at Shun Fu lah, okay? So, again, a bit small, and I apologize. But I think I can zoom in. Yes. Okay, I have forgotten to use the zoom the whole time. Apologize for that. So Jadescape, so this is Sky Vue. So Sky Vue, you can see they have done pretty decent in terms of their profit, right? Averaging out into, you know, about 2 to 3%. Most of them bought in 2013, some in 2016, 2015. And then a 800 square feet unit, right? I bring your attention to the 800 plus square feet unit, making about $231,000. Decent? Yeah, quite decent, right? You might say Bishan, very good area with a lot of high quantum HDBs, walking distance to the MRT. Jadescape, when it was launched, so happened the show flat is right beside Sky Vue. Most people complained that it was crazy expensive, okay? Most people complained it was crazy expensive and how Sky Vue would have been a better choice. But if we really do analyze it now, and these profits are yielded before the development even TOP, we see the average kind of annualized returns going from 4, 5, even to 6% annualized. These folks have bought in 2018. So here is the question. Which time would have been a better time for people to buy the property? Okay, 2018, or you notice this guy over here, 2015, the first line, 2015 or 2016. Notice the 2016 guy hardly make any money lah, right? But the 2015 guy make about 2.8%. Because if we jump back to the previous slide, 2016 is essentially the lowest point in the private property price index chart over the last, I would say, 10 years, from 2011 onwards, the lowest point. By right, that should have been the best time because everyone is trying to catch it at the low. But 2018 is actually the previous peak before the last cooling measure sort of cooled down the market, and then we went on this crazy run in the last 1-2 years. But 2018 was considered a high point. So really, what is the kind of takeaway that I have for this particular example? Yeah, because when we show people this kind of profits, a lot of them are sort of like in disbelief when they see this, which is why I wanted to do this, right? For the folks that, you know, for the folks that watch us, right? Because the folks that watch us, they want to keep an open mind and they want to understand, more importantly, why is this happening? Instead of like just brushing it off like, oh, this is nuts, this is crazy. Yeah, why is this happening? I think that's the key thing, right? And I think taking this as an example, it just goes to show if we can understand this, we can take this case study, we can pull out some learning points from this. It's going to tell us what does the market really want. Okay, what does the market really want? The market is leaning towards buying something that is a bit newer, you know, because the question that I always like to ask my clients, ask the listeners is, do you think the first time buyer or the buyer that is buying that property from the first owner don't know that they are paying this kind of profits to the first owner? They know, but yet why do they do it, right? I think that's a deeper question to answer as opposed to just brushing it off as hype, as bubble, if you don't really even bother to go and analyze and understand it, right? These folks, there's a pretty good chance that they have made a sum of money from their first house, where just now I was just talking about it, right? And now they are happy to come and pay the profits for a ready house to stay. Right? Of course, the next question, can Jadescape continue to outperform and make money now that they have almost touched 2,000 PSF, 1,009 PSF? Last time 1,007 PSF at launch, everybody says it's crazy expensive. Now it has hit 2,000, right? The question now everyone will ask me is, if you go and buy Jadescape now, can you still make money? I think you can. I think you can, because the development is very, very big. It's above 1,000 units. Okay? But what is the learning point from this? Entry more important or exit more important? Okay? And what does the market really want? The market is now leaning towards more quality products, something that is newer, right? It's to understand there's an emotional element to purchasers, to the buyers. You really want to make money, you need to understand how the buyers think, what the buyers want, and then of course you can buy and give them what they want lah, okay? So, and then I'm going to dive down a little bit deeper into Sky Vue, because we already see Jadescape, right? You see, Jadescape, a lot of their profits, most of the transactions are the 700 plus square feet. There's quite a number of those sizes, right? They are yielding like 200K profits easily, about 4% annualized, okay? Then I'm going to jump over to a similar size in Sky Vue, okay? The 700, right? I bring your attention to the 678 square feet one. Notice how this guy bought the one below, bought in 2013, okay, and sold in 2021, make about 232,000, okay, quite good, 2.5% annualized. But his good friend at the top, over here, sell a bit earlier leh. This guy sold 1st March 2019, only make $75,000, but buy the same, basically 1 day apart. So what this tells me is that the timing of exit is actually also very, very important. Selling about 1.5 years difference from one another can yield you a good, a lot almost 3 times the kind of profit. So while entry is, I would, if you ask me, I would lean towards exit being more important, because honestly, entry you cannot control. The people at Jadescape, could they control? Did they know? Did they know that they were going to make so much money? Honestly, they didn't lah. I'm pretty sure they didn't. When I bought Park Estar, I also didn't know I'm going to make so much money. Paper profits only lah, I haven't sell. So all the trolls don't come and put all the comments. That's it, right? You cannot really control your entry, right? Because based on what I know, trying to time your entry has actually done more harm than good over the years. And also because you cannot reasonably predict the demand factors, right? Because if you're trying to time your entry, right, it's trying to basically gauge demand, right? Because you're hoping that demand suddenly die off the next day, and hence the price will correct itself, because supply is already in the market, and supply don't disappear or don't come online just like that. So you are actually trying to guess demand if you're trying to time the market, and nobody knows that, right? But exit you can time. For those of you who have followed us, you know when are we timing our exit, and why are we timing the exit then, right? Trying to sell at a seller's market, trying to sell at a time that is beneficial to us. I feel the whole case study over here, it makes a lot more sense for you to try and time your exit rather than try and time your entry, okay? That's my takeaway, right? A good timing on the exit helps make you a lot more money than trying to time the entry, okay? Next example, okay? Jalan Anak Bukit, right? I think that is going to be where the circus is headed towards next. And since Upper Bukit Timah lies in the RCR, I thought we can take it up and use it as an example to discuss. And I've picked out several developments in Upper Bukit Timah as well. Honestly, there aren't that many. There's a very drastic difference between the old ones, right? The old are all like 20, 30 years old. The less than 10 years old one end up not many lah. So, you know, I picked as many as I can, like the newest ones already. So we have Jardine from the bottom, okay? Jardine, KAP Residences, The Creek, Suites, Notting Hill Suites, Suites de Laurel, Terrene, Garden Vista, The Rain Tree. And it is really, really interesting case study. So attention in Upper Bukit Timah sort of died off after, you know, Daintree got sold out. Right now, you know, Verdale is also sold out. So the whole attention over in the Upper Bukit Timah area seems to have died off. Like it was one of the hottest areas in 2020, 2021. But it's gonna be hot again once we see Jalan Anak Bukit being announced, until you see the price. Because it's by Far East and we know how Far East always price their properties. Right now, back to this, I want to bring your attention to, of course, a lot of the small freehold ones you see over here, Notting Hill Suites downwards, all done very, very badly. Annualized capital returns is all negative one, right? But we have Terrene over here. I think this is a better case study. Completed in 2013, 172 units. What does this remind you of? The number of units and the TOP here are actually very, very close to Fulcrum and the Line, and we know how badly Fulcrum and the Line perform. And for those of you who also know, the people that bought pre-2013, a lot of them bought quite high. So 2013, buy before 2013, small freehold development would have, by right, lost money. But they seem to have sort of beat the trend for this and turn really decent profits. And so I think it's worthwhile for us to sort of discuss and see what can we learn from Terrene, as well as the top two, the Rain Tree and Garden Vista. These are 99-year developments, TOP 2006 and 2008, so really, really old, right? They are 16 years old, right? 16 years old and 14 years old respectively, at the kind of age where we all expect, right? Because we all are saying near the 13 to 15 year mark is where the 99-year developments start to come down. And let's take a look at the prices, okay? So we first start off with Terrene. Wrong. We first start off with Terrene. Let's go over there. So if you check them out, right, a lot of them bought in 2010. So, you know, had they sold earlier during 2018, 2019, right, notice they didn't really make a lot of money. Their annualized returns is like less than 1%, so wasn't very good. Again, another case study of the exit is a lot more important than the entry, right? You can enter at the wrong time, but if you catch your exit correctly, and the difference can be just 1 or 2 years, notice how the percentage annualized returns now suddenly start to cross 2%. You know, the profits now we start to see 3-4 100,000. So I'm using Terrene as another case study of entry you cannot predict, right? But the exit you can. Because these guys bought it, they didn't know 2013 gonna come cooling measures, right? From 2010, actually from 2010 onwards, the cooling measures really start to come in. It's just 2013 with TDSR really was like doors kind of shut on speculative demand. But important, once you have your holding power, you can hold it through, wait it out, there will always be another seller's market, another run for you to catch, for you to exit. So don't panic, which is why it's important. And I think you guys have done a really good job sticking around with us until now. I know this is super duper heavy, but I think all this is just really good info to give you the sort of confidence to know what to expect right? The more knowledge you have, the more confidence you have, the more you don't do silly things like sell at a time that is not good, or try to time your entry. Okay, so that's actually terrain, right? For all the traditional or not say the traditional parameters lah. By right, should not do well one. By right, should lose money, and they did until now. Okay, and they did very, very badly until now, right? And so congratulations to the owners that held through till now and really start to see the fruits of the patience. Next up, Raintree and Garden Vista. Again, these two developments, right? 99 years already, going on like 14, 16 years old, still yielding really, really good profits, as you can see. As a matter of fact, we see our friend over here at the bottom, by 2016 still can make $262,000. Okay, we have Garden Vista. Yeah, Garden Vista also by 2016 make 322,000. By 2017 make 161,000, 3.7% annualized and 4.9% annualized. All these are new launch level kind of returns. New launch level kind of returns. By 2016 to 2006, hold all the way until 2021, still can make 5% annualized. Really, really fantastic. So my conclusion, what do I take away from Raintree and Garden Vista? First of all, you got to understand the environment that you are in. The vicinity over at Raintree and Garden Vista, the new developments that come out are no match for the kind of product that Raintree and Garden Vista can offer, the kind of size that they can offer. We have a lot of upgraders coming in from the Choa Chu Kang area. The last time, the Upper Bukit Timah area didn't really have a lot of they had organic demand, but they didn't really have the people with the firepower, right? Our upgraders that have made money at the start. But today, we see more and more of that, right? Choa Chu Kang tons, and we're going to continue to see tons and tons of upgraders coming in once the Tengah area is coming online. So if you really ask me, where do I see Upper Bukit Timah headed, I would think Upper Bukit Timah is maybe going to become something like the District 15 of the West, right? Because District 15 of the East now is helped a lot by all the HDBs coming in District 19, right? So your Upper Bukit Timah area, very similar vibes, good schools, landed houses, sort of your atas place, being supported by a lot of new condos, right? Even Clementi as well, we're seeing a lot of HDBs, Queenstown, a lot of HDBs, Tengah and Choa Chu Kang. So with good, strong organic demand, they can even beat out, right, the whole aging 99-year lease of the development. But of course, if you are in an area with not so much strong organic demand, or if you do not offer a kind of unique product to serve the buyer profile, then you need to be concerned with your remaining lease. Okay, so pretty deep stuff. I hope you guys can understand. But if not, right, can always text me, and then I can go into greater detail. Now back to the thing, right? So conclusion, layouts matter. I'm not going to bring out I initially wanted to show the Creek and Notting Hill, but we are trying to keep the time short, and I know today's session is super duper heavy already. But layouts matter. Another development that, if you look at the previous one, did pretty well is the Creek. The Creek did quite okay. I mean, you don't see this but they have like 23 and 7 versus Notting Hill is 7 and 13. And the Creek, if we go and see, there are some developments that actually did quite well. The 900 plus square feet one, their profits are 200 over $1,000. The important thing is the layout. Okay, the important thing, they are side by side to one another, for example, as a matter of fact, right? But the Creek don't have bay windows already. Notting Hill Suites still have bay windows, and Notting Hill Suites has very, very odd layouts, which shows the reason why they don't perform well. The Creek, no bay windows, albeit the layout is a lot more regular. Hence, you see transactions being a lot more consistent over at the Creek. Okay, so the Creek, smallish freehold development, but price do okay lah, not bad. Next up, right, understand your organic demand, which is why I'm saying, I feel the Upper Bukit Timah area is going to benefit a lot from the new upcoming HDB towns in the west. There is a lack of supply of private condos in the west, and all this demand is now going to flow towards your Upper Bukit Timah area, I see, for the foreseeable future, right? Understanding HDB supply, where is it coming from? Is there sufficient supply for those HDB, new big HDB towns? I don't think so, okay? Because Tengah over there, right, besides Choa Chu Kang, if you go and look at Choa Chu Kang, super little condos, not enough. Then you go down to Bukit Panjang over there, also not a lot of condos. So all this demand have to go somewhere, okay? Right, and then of course choose the right kind of transformation. So while the hype that's attracting people into beauty world maybe the whole Jalan Anak Bukit transformation and things like that, I'm actually looking at the other transformation. I feel the transformation that I'm looking at if I want to go into Upper Bukit Timah is the whole transformation at Tengah that will benefit, even though they are not super near one another. But I'm looking at that to really benefit my prices, as opposed to the Jalan Anak Bukit transformation, right? Next up, right? So that's all I have. Very, very dense and very, very deep already. I see the number of people starting to drop. I think watch until headache. Right? A lot of people say watch my video, always watch until headache. I think too many, too heavy, too much info. But that being said, I really just want to give as much value as I can to the people that follow and listen to us. So I'm going to leave off with what are the areas of interest in the RCR that I will look at, right? I will be looking at Katong, Dakota area. Interesting thing will be the new Dunman site that comes up. Will not be cheap, but 1,000 over units. Very, very exciting area. I think will bring about a lot of change to the whole area. We're also going to see the MRT line opening up as well. Again, bringing up a lot of change in the area. So something, a area with strong organic demand undergoing a lot of changes, a lot of transformation, new benchmark prices being set. Exciting times for District 15. Another area that I'm looking at is also the Bartley, Woodleigh transformation area. Why? The Bidadari estates, all of them have not even hit their MOP yet. You just go and calculate how many houses going to be there. I believe it's like 20 to 30,000 units. Just 10% of them upgrade. That's a lot of money that's going to flow out from that area, and they'll be looking to buy somewhere around there. And it's going to help bring up the prices of the area, as like what we have seen in Sengkang Punggol, with all the money that is being made around there from the HDB upgraders because of all the subsidized housing benefit all the private properties in the area. Mainly these two areas. If you are looking at somewhat a bit more short term, if you're looking at mid to long term, like just now what I shown you, Upper Bukit Timah, I think works quite well, because it's going to take time for Tengah to really come online. But when Tengah really comes online, I think Upper Bukit Timah is going to benefit a lot, right? Notice how I don't really dive too much into the Greater Southern waterfront because I see it as a transformation that is still going to take a long time. And because also the PLH rules is going to limit the kind of upgrader demand for upgraders coming out and spending the money in that area. So, I still don't quite know how the whole PLH scheme will work out, but based on what I can analyze for now, it's way too restrictive for people to really make a lot of money because of the income restrictions of the buyer that buys over your unit. Okay, so way too many question marks for me. I will choose areas that has more certain transformations lah, right? Next up, right, bonus. So for those of you who watched till this part, right, so just now you remember all the lists that I have consolidated all of them, and also some other lists that I was not able to add. Oops, I apologize. Okay, so anyway, you guys didn't miss much, and I just go through the slides again. Just now I was at, you guys didn't miss much, right? Areas of interest for the RCR, right? I would focus if you are looking at short term in Dakota, Katong area, okay, as well as the Bartley and Aljunied, Bartley, Potong Pasir area because of the whole Bidadari transformation, as well as the Woodleigh area. Mid to long term, right, can explore Upper Bukit Timah because of the Tengah transformation and also the lack of land supply over in the west, lack of private condo supply in the west. Okay, Queenstown also is quite interesting because we also have all your Dawson units, right, all your Queenstown HDBs as well as Ghim Moh HDBs. Okay, not so certain about the Greater Southern Waterfront because way too many question marks over there for me lah. Okay, and then so last one, right, is the bonus. There are some of the properties I couldn't include, right, didn't have sufficient time to include in here. But if you are looking for a property in the RCR, you want to know what are the ones with strong track record, I have consolidated the list, right? Just drop me a text, happy to send it to you. And then, if you want, we can even have a chat about, what are some of the points for those properties and can you replicate those points if you really do buy into them. Because profitable properties, right, there's always two sides to the coin. Some people will say, then, I need to pay the owner so much profit. Is it worthwhile? Is it worthwhile paying? And also, if you really look at the list, actually some gaps really do jump out to you. For example, the whole with the Sky Vue. Just now you remember the District 15 slide with the Sky Vue really stretching resale prices over in District 15 Amber area to 2,200 PSF. How is that going to work out for the new launches in the area, the other resale properties in the area, right? So spotting all those gaps, which is really why it has gotten me, genuinely quite excited with the whole District 15 area, an area that previously I had a bit of questions. Now the camera is down, so I apologize for all the technical difficulties. Then let's just do podcast style, right? Until the camera comes back. So what are some of the, the deeper questions to ask? So earlier in the presentation, we talked about some of the questions to ask if you are looking for profitable properties, right? Should it be freehold or 99? Does development size matter? But let me put to you some of the higher level questions that you should ask yourselves, right? Do you understand how profits are made? Right? Do you, right? Are you aware of the shifting trends? What are buyers in the market today looking for? Right? Referring to the case studies, comparing Sky Vue at Jadescape, remember, right? Why has Terrain outperformed the other freehold developments in the Upper Bukit Timah area? Right? Why Sky Vue outperformed One Amber and the Esta? Right? What does this tell us about buyers' preferences today, and what are some of the shifting trends? Okay, what does the market want? Right. So I believe all this, right. Once you have a clearer grasp and you are able to answer these questions well, you will have more confidence to pick out some of these profitable developments, okay? And so this is something that I came up with quite recently, because I noticed a lot of people being stuck in actually finding and making their move for their property purchases. It's because I noticed, and actually a lot of the things that we talked about today are actually talking about the what, which is the outside circle. And also learned this because I read the book starting with Always Start With Why. I thought it's a super duper interesting book. And it's something that we can apply to everything that we do. So it's because a lot of the times people, they come from the outside in, they start with, you know, what to buy, right? And then go and view and then get themselves a lot. Oh, we are back. View and then get tired and then get lost and get confused, right? Which is why, you know, how we structure. I mean, it's been how we've always done it. It's just that now putting it visually. Instead, right, try and start from the inside, starting with the why. Why are you doing this? Okay, are you buying it for own stay? Are you buying it for investment? Actually, that is also quite a surface answer, because if you ask us why are we doing this, right, it's because we firmly believe that our property purchases are part of our whole asset journey to get us to where we want to be in terms of our dream house, as well as our financial portfolio as part of our whole life plan. And that is the reason why we are doing this. Investment, own stay, those are actually second part of the whole why question, right? It's to be very, very clear as to the direction you are headed towards, right? Why are you doing this? Followed by the how. So the how really involves, you know, understanding the fundamentals. How do you pick profitable properties, which is the previous slide. Why I'm saying ask yourselves higher level questions, because that really then firms up the how, right? Do you know how to analyze all these properties? Do you know how to plan your whole property plan? Only after you firm out all these things, right? How to analyze the market, how to visualize your exit strategy, those sort of things. Then you move on to the what, and then if you go out from this way, the what becomes a lot clearer, because you eliminate a lot of the other options that are not congruent with your whole property plan. For example, if you are, you know, looking at this as a step-up journey, you wouldn't buy the freehold developments, because remember, the freehold developments more expensive may not outperform the 99-year developments as we've seen in our Sky Vue example. Yeah, by right should beat the 99 years. The Shaw hands down didn't until the seller's market. But then if you know how to analyze the seller's market, when is the seller's market coming online next? Then you can pick the freehold development with more confidence, and then you won't go and buy the 99 years already. So it just gives you a lot more clarity once you know how to do all this stuff. Yeah, so hopefully now that I have put it down into a visual representation, it can help our listeners sort of plan it better, plan your purchase, plan your property portfolio better, right? And so what's next? Dissecting profitable CCR properties. I haven't gotten the poster up yet, but that's going to be the topic for next month's Facebook Live session. So do come and join us. And with that, I thank you guys for your attention today. If you have any questions, feel free to text me. If you want that bonus, that consolidated sheet, same thing, text me, happy to send it over to you. Or you can also chat with Elizabeth as well. And with that, thank you all for joining. Stay behind if anyone has any questions, or if you have a particular property that you want me to dissect. You can put it inside as well, right? I can do a separate video to dissect it.
YouTube comment from Tan Wen. Will Flynn Park launch this year?
Flynn Park? Wow, I'm not sure. Yeah, really, I'm not sure. Because a lot of the developers, they're holding their cards really close to their chest, you know, because in this market, a lot of the developers, they want to see the results of the other developers before they decide to launch, which is why you see Leaf at MB, right? They launch right after Piccadilly. Because there's not enough supply in the market, the developers are waiting and holding to see. If there's a lot of supply, a lot of them will then start to rush and launch first. Now the developers are in no rush to launch. As a matter of fact, they're probably thinking the later they launch, the better it is, because of the matter of fact, the lack of unsold inventory in the market at this point in time. So I'm sorry, I can't give you the answer because I also don't know. Okay? Ang Mo Kio is going to launch though. Amo Residences in Ang Mo Kio. Terrible name, but you know, stay tuned for that review, probably coming out in 1 or 2 weeks time. Any other comments? So with that, thank you guys so much for joining us. We'll see you next month. Bye-bye. Stop already.
The YouTube one as well.